Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll look at the best ways to protect your email from hackers. Also tonight, a promising new test to diagnose Lyme disease is being developed in the Valley. And the Phoenix New Times is devoting its next issue to stories about local immigrants. That's next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. An amendment popped up in the Arizona State Senate that would allow payday lenders to once again offer high-interest loans in Arizona. 2008 voter-approved measure banned payday lenders in the state, but the new amendment would allow interest rates of up to 164% on loans topping out at $2,500. Democrats have opposed bills that would allow payday lenders back into the state, but Republican backers say that the loans would give people without credit access to cash. The Justice Department has issued indictments against 2 Russian agents and 2 others accused in the 2014 Yahoo email hacks that impacted millions of Americans. The hackers also used the data to send spam and steal credit card and gift card information. Eric Marcus, a tech CEO of Marcus Networking, joins us now to talk about how best to protect you and your email from hackers. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thank you for having us.
This indictment against 2 Russian agents for hacking, this was a big deal. How many people were affected by this?
Over 500 million people had their emails hacked.
Goodness, and have there been recent attacks as well?
There have been recent attacks through different service providers, like Yahoo, Google, and a few other smaller ones as well.
So let's try to figure out how to protect ourselves when and if, I think it's more like when as opposed to if, something like this happens again. What are the best things to do?
The best thing to know is that this is not something at the consumer level where we talk about creating a stronger password that most people are fearful of. This is at the managed services provider level, which means Yahoo themselves, their email service was hacked. So that can happen to Google, Microsoft, or really anybody. So what you have to look at is actually what is in the content of your email itself. A lot of people store in their email box credit card numbers, tax returns, gift card numbers, anything that's a personal piece of information that a hacker can take from your email, they then can use against you.
Interesting. So I've heard that this HTTPS, the S on the end of the P there, that's a big deal.
The S stands for what's called an SSL certificate. That allows you to know that when you visit a website, it is a legit website to use. So for example, if you went to Bank of America and it didn't have an S after that HTTP, that might be a spoofed website, which means it's one that looks like the real website but is not.
Now, can you configure your own email and websites and such with that S on the end?
You actually can't. You actually have to buy that SSL certificate from an authorized third-party company. There are only a handful in the United States that allow you to do that. And that certificate requires you to prove that you're the actual company that owns that website. So Bank of America would have to go to that company and say, here's our certificate.
So I would imagine don't open unfamiliar emails. That's kind of a no-brainer there.
Yeah, the no-brainer is not to do that. However, a lot of these hackers for ransomware and these particular instances are sending emails out that look like bank statements from American Express, Wells Fargo, things like that. So when you get an email and it really looks like it with a picture, right? It shows you the picture of the American Express logo. A lot of people click on that link and then it takes you to this fake website, which then allows the hacker to get into your computer.
It's just that easy. I mean, you go to that fake website and it's all over.
It's all over. That's it.
How do you know you've been hacked?
A lot of the new viruses actually do not tell you you've been hacked. So they will sit silent in the background and continue to mine data and then use it against you. What you have to understand is that antivirus, not visiting websites that you're unfamiliar with are very important. And obviously, if you get an email from Bank of America, American Express, or something like that says pay your bill, you should just go to the website itself and actually log in. Right. Don't click the link from the actual email.
I would imagine it also makes sense that you could be doing everything right, but you go to grandma's house and you use grandma's computer and that thing could be just riddled with all sorts of stuff and you do personal business there, you're toast.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And that's why a lot of companies, I go back to Bank of America or American Express just because I use them, they have what's called two-form authentication, which means when you sign on to grandma's computer, they will actually send you a text message or to the registered device that you have with a PIN code. And that tells them that they know you have the device in front of you and it's legitimately you logging into this computer. So that helps you protect yourself. And that's one of the things that a lot of companies are moving to is two-form factor authentication.
The two-step verification.
Yeah.
You mentioned antivirus, anti-spyware, firewall, these sorts of things. Do they work?
No.
They don't work?
They don't work 100%. The problem with the ransomware viruses that are coming out is that antivirus companies can't keep up with this new technology every single day. So we have clients in the past that have gotten ransomware. They have a full firewall package suite with antivirus, and they still get it because it's a self-inflicted virus. You click on that link, and that's all that it takes. It takes you to that wrong website and downloads the virus.
Now, when you first started speaking, you said something along the lines that passwords don't make a whole heck of a lot of difference. Yahoo, they said change your password, so I changed every password I have, Yahoo or otherwise. Was I just whistling in the dark here?
No, changing your password is what you do need to do, but what a lot of people don't understand is that Yahoo themselves, the service provider, were hacked. So that means the hackers that were found guilty, the Russian two individuals, went to Yahoo directly and hacked into their database. So all of the 500 million users, their passwords were compromised. Those passwords do need to be changed so they can't then go in again and get to your information.
But they still, I mean, if I had Yahoo and I change my password and hackers come along tomorrow, there's not much I can do.
There's not much you, the consumer, can do or business owner. That's up to Yahoo or Google or Microsoft or Cox or CenturyLink. They have to take the onus to provide the security to defend themselves against the hackers.
Are they doing that?
Well, they are doing that. I mean, they're required by law to put certain parameters in place. However, hacking is hacking. It's been something that's going on for 20 years. And that's the whole goal of a hacker, is to break through the system,
right.
Not necessarily always to steal information, but just to prove that they can do it.
And if you mentioned they kind of secretly in there mining information and just biding their time, there's no way to know that they're there.
Some hackers, aren't that great, so there are ways to track them, if you will, but there are some hackers that can spend a significant amount of time on a network quietly and mine the data, and that's what happened with Yahoo.
Yeah, hackers, if you will.
Yeah.
I'd read that the security Q&As you have on some of these websites and for passwords and, what was the name of your first pet and where were you born, that kind of stuff. This may not work because if you have a Facebook page and there you're showing your pet or you're mentioning how I was born in such and such a place, they can find it there.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. That happens actually a lot in our industry. A lot of people's passwords for what they think is strong really isn't. And there's quite a bit of software out there that can sit there and just chip away at your password over time to see if it is actually correct or not. And that's why two-form authentication is becoming very popular. It's a way to stop that.
I mean, is this just one of these things where you just hope you don't get, you got to sit back and just hope it doesn't happen?
I don't think that, but I think as a consumer and a business owner, you should be mindful of what you store in your email. It really comes down to that.
Yes.
If I hacked your password, what email information would I get from your email box itself? And that's what people have to look at.
Yeah, put that stuff on the computer somewhere as opposed to...
Correct. Store it on your computer, don't store it online. And that's what the hackers did. They got credit card information, gift card. I mean, they went after gift cards. They got, Bed Bath & Beyond gift cards and used those. It's really that easy to get.
My goodness. All right, good information. Good to have you here. Thank you for
having
joining us.
me.
We appreciate
Thanks.
it. And coming up on Arizona Horizon, a promising new test to better diagnose Lyme disease.
This is the real thing. This is where we were born.
One of the amazing things about the history of life on Earth is it keeps learning new tricks.
The animals, the plants, really gets in your blood.
Everything's interconnected.
We've got to begin to tell a new story, a story about interaction.
It's something that really touches my heart. There's just massive life everywhere. It's just magic.
Lyme disease is notoriously difficult to diagnose, but the group Focus on Lyme is funding research at the Translational Genomics Research Institute in Phoenix on a new test called LymeSeq. Tammy Crawford is the executive director. of Focus on Lyme. She joins us now. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome
Good
to
be here.
Arizona. Let's set some parameters. What exactly is Lyme disease?
Lyme disease is a tick-borne illness that is transferred from a tick to a human. And in most cases, if it's caught early, it can be no worse than having flu symptoms, fever, rash, and can be treated with an antibiotic if caught early. But currently, Lyme disease is the #1 vector-borne disease, #2 infectious disease in the United States.
My goodness.
And over 300,000 cases, is documented by the CDC. And 25% of those cases end up with long-term debilitating symptoms.
Now, is Lyme disease prevalent in Arizona?
There's support groups for Lyme disease in all 50 states, and the studies have not really been done to determine which areas of Arizona have ticks that could be carrying the bacteria of Lyme. But we know that there are many people who claim they did get Lyme disease in the state, and more studies need to be funded to prove what we have here.
Yeah, because you hear about the Northeast all the time.
Northeast, it's endemic
the
there.
epicenter there, but
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it being a problem. But you have woods in Arizona. I mean, you go up
Right.
the North Country, you got all sorts of,
Yeah.
I would imagine, ticks
Yes.
up there.
We had a big outbreak near the Grand Canyon where 7 people were diagnosed with a form of Borrelia, which is a relapsing fever that can actually be fatal. So, I mean, it's here.
Why is it so hard to diagnose? I know it's often undiagnosed, it's often misdiagnosed. Why?
Well, in my situation, it was my daughter who contracted Lyme disease, and our personal situation sort of mirrors what most people go through, which is you have this active, healthy person who all of a sudden shows up with these debilitating symptoms. And one of the problems is that Lyme disease can attack the immune system and depress the immune system, but our existing tests really only measure your immune system's response to the bacteria. So if for some reason you're not responding the way you should, then it's difficult to pick up the bacteria in the existing blood tests.
Is it a diagnosis of exclusion mostly?
Well, it is now. It can be a clinical diagnosis, so they will rule it out by testing you for everything under the sun, which can be very painful, which also happened to my daughter. At 19, she had an MRI, they wanted to do muscle biopsies, she had a spinal tap, she had, and tons of blood work testing for things like MS and lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. And often Lyme disease is misdiagnosed for many of those diseases, and we really don't have a good way to rule it out.
Well, enter LymeSeq. What is LymeSeq, and how is this going to help the situation?
So we partnered with TGen, Translational Genomics. Here they have a infectious disease division up at NAU. And we are raising funds and have created an assay, a test that's going to look actually at the bacteria in your blood, not your immune system's response, but the actual bacteria levels in your blood, and not only for Lyme disease, but also many co-infections which come with Lyme disease in the blood.
It sounds like it targets and maybe amplifies the DNA of this stuff. Is that relatively
That's exactly
accurate?
right. And we're looking at RNA, which is 1 to 10,000 times more accurate than DNA. So we're looking for a very specific, accurate diagnostic test that will help people not only know if they have Lyme disease, but also if the treatments are helping them.
I was going to say, will this transfer over to treatments?
We're hoping. I mean, we're in the very early stages. The test is being, as we speak, it's being fine-tuned, and in a very short period of time, we'll begin running human blood samples over it, mostly from biobanks, biorepositories initially, and then we'll move into a bigger human study, hopefully in the next probably 12 to 15 months.
Have there been human studies so far?
Yes, we've done. Yes, and we've had very good results on the human blood so far.
And so good results.
Yes.
So
excellent.
relatively encouraging. I mean, the testing now sounds like it's multi-tiered. As you mentioned, after you get past the exclusion part, then when you do the actual testing, that sounds like an ordeal in itself.
Well, the test is less than 50% accurate, so it's no better than a coin toss.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
if you're lucky, as my daughter was fortunate to get a very positive Lyme test. But even so, many physicians don't recognize that chronic Lyme exists, and that was our case. We went to an infectious disease specialist who told us that it didn't exist, but yet here she has all the symptoms. She's very ill. So we're hoping that this test will help the physicians as well, because if you're a doctor and someone comes in with all these crazy symptoms and you don't believe the existing tests that's out there, it's very difficult to justify treating them with tons of antibiotics or anything really.
Are there still doctors who don't think Lyme disease exists?
I think everyone would agree that acute Lyme exists. But these chronic symptoms, they consider, some people think it's a post-Lyme syndrome, which is maybe an autoimmune response to having Lyme in the first place. But we don't believe that. We think that you're going to find remnants of the bacteria in people's blood.
What is, before you go, what is Focus on Lyme?
So Focus on Lyme is the nonprofit that we organize to raise money to fund not only this diagnostic test, but also treatment options. So it's just it's a method to really push the science forward for both physicians and families and of people suffering from Lyme disease.
And so where do we go for here? What's next?
So, well, if you would like to participate and help us, you can go to focusonlyme.org, and all the information, our stories on there, and how to donate. And we're trying to raise $200,000 to get to the point where we'll then be able to move into a bigger human clinical study. So that's where we are.
Well, good luck with that, and
Thank you.
Best of luck to your daughter.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
The Phoenix New-Times is devoting its entire issue this week on the impact of immigrants in the Valley. The issue is titled Immigrants, A Frayed Fabric, and it includes stories from people from other countries and now making their home right here in Phoenix. Stuart Warner is the editor of the Phoenix New-Times, and he joins us right now. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Oh, thank you.
And,
first time.
Yes, this is. A full edition now of the New-Times to immigrants. What's this all about?
Well, we decided to look at, everybody's talking about illegal immigration and the refugees, but we wanted to step back and look, what has immigrants meant to our community? And they are us. I mean, we're looking at somewhere between 900,000 and 1.1 million people in Arizona were born outside the United States. So they are part of every bit of our fabric. And so we've taken each section of the New-Times, from the news to dining to music to culture, and focused on immigrant contributions there.
The title, though, of the issue is Immigrants, A Frayed Fabric. Yes. Why that title?
Well, right now, because what started this conversation, there seems to be an underlying threat, either from build the wall, or let's keep people out, with travel bans. So, and one of the immigrants who was a Holocaust survivor saw some of this in Germany in the 1940s and 1930s. So we wanted to get all different perspectives on it, but to bring the conversation about this is our community, and they're all part of us, undocumented or documented.
So there is, I guess the question is that fabric becoming undone?
And that's what
you're looking at.
That's what and certainly there's a lot of concerns right now. And each person we've talked to has seen there's some parts of concerns, and from the mother who lost a son,
yes,
to a man who was here illegally. That is still a big concern in this community.
Well, you mentioned a couple of the stories here. Let's start with the Jewish immigrant, the gentleman who, with this Trump administration, he seems to be seeing things that he has seen before. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, Oscar Knobloch, and he was a child during Germany. So parents were killed in the occupation by the Nazis, and he's seeing that sort of attitude, this sort of just singling out a group and making them feel, other people feel like it's us against them. And he saw that before, and he says he's seeing that now, and he says it's time for a lot of us to stand up to that and to be upstanders, is what he called us.
Yeah, was it different when he was younger, where did not enough people become upstanders back then?
And that's, yeah, I mean, it happened, and he saw it, and it let it go by, and he said, this time, you know, we've got to stand up, start it before it gets too far.
Now, you mentioned the mother of a Mesa police officer killed by a drunk driver.
Yes.
That story is in there as well.
Yes.
That's part of the immigrant story.
Yes, Marianne Mendoza, and we've talked about crime, you know, and immigrants, and I think most of the studies say that immigrants, especially the undocumented immigrants, actually commit less crime. But if it happens to you, it doesn't make it any less impact.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And that's a rough story.
Yes,
That's
and
probably
she's a very devout Trump supporter right now, and you can understand her position.
Russian barbers in the valley?
Were you surprised that there's so many? Just
yes.
right up the street, Central Barbershop is a Russian, Roman Netkolov, I believe. But there are dozens of Russian barbers throughout the valley, which I was surprised to find out.
And now, how long have they been in the valley?
It's been, you know, it started in the late 80s, we're told, and it was just one guy who wanted to have barbers from all over, but then he found Russians particularly had a knack for it. And then, you know, one led to another, and they started talking, and they found this is a lot like home. Most of them. So
I was going to say, if their home was a desert,
yeah,
a flaming desert.
So.
A Danish choreographer. We've had this choreographer on the program.
Yeah, Banderson, of course, very well known. He's brought a different perspective to Ballet Arizona. And that's the kind of contribution he's made.
Now, you also, for the restaurant section, you included Ethiopian restaurateurs. And I've always been amazed. Yeah. It's not like there's an Ethiopian restaurant on every corner, but there are quite a few of them around town.
Yeah, and I would assume that they do probably find this very much like home.
Yeah.
And the Ethiopians are wonderful cooks. I'm sure if you've been, you know, and it's and eating with the bread in your hand, it's a great experience. But they also try to be a touchstone for the East African culture in the community, and something, you know, that adds to the fabric that we are.
And another story deals with an Ivory Coast native hosting his own. Is it a radio show or a television show?
It's a radio show. He brings Caribbean music, African music, Hispanic music. He tries to say he likes all the black and brown skinned people to feel that they have a voice. It's Mr. Clean Bee. It's on Radio Phoenix, I think, and it's the Yaga show or something.
Yeah.
It's a very different. He considers himself sort of a one-man diversity band.
Well, and all of these folks now, and there are other stories here as well. I mean, has their impression of America, of Arizona, the Valley, has that changed?
And I think there's the beginning just a little bit, because they all love it here. I mean, they enjoy it. Every one of them has had nothing but, you know, with the exception of the mother, has had positive things to say. The undocumented student who worries that her parents are going to be taken now. She has still a great love for this country and wants to be here, wants to be part of us. And that's the theme that runs through all of them. They want to be part of us.
They want to be part of us, but do the stories, do the reporters find maybe more fear or maybe less fear? Like, you know, I'm here and I count, and that's just the way it is.
I think right now there's just this underlying current of fear. Not terrible, and almost everyone we talk to is here legally.
Yeah.
We're not looking at, but there's still this fear that it's, you know, that if you could turn on one group, could you turn on another? That's what Oscar Knobloch pointed out, that, you know, you start with one, but then if you look at other people who are different. And so that's his concern, even though he's been here legally for decades.
So this issue has been in production, I would imagine, for quite a while, or at least in anticipation and planning.
It has, and it just went to the presses
just
before I got here. So.
Well, I was going to ask, I don't know the terminology anymore. The newspaper business has changed so much. Yes. I was thinking, when's it going to be on the stands? You still have stands.
We still have newsstands here, and it's free.
Yeah.
There are a number of them around campus and around coffee shops and nightclubs and clubs, and that's where New Times people hang out.
Yes.
So it's a free issue, and it'll also be online Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. Bottom line, it's basically a reflection on the impact of immigrants.
Yes, and that immigrants are us. and that they are part of our community. They have made Phoenix what it is. We have all made Phoenix what it is.
Is that a little surprising to some folks? Because a lot of people see Phoenix as pretty white bread.
Yeah, well, we ran a story not too long. Why is Phoenix so white? But if you look closely, it's not. I mean, and we have all kinds of cultures here, and they have blended together and to make one fabric that we think could be pretty strong and like to keep it that way.
All right. So again, paper's out Thursday and online Thursday morning as well. Afraid Fabric. Very interesting. Good to have you here.
Good.
Thanks
Good
for
to
joining
meet
us. We
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Wednesday on Arizona Horizon, state legislative leaders will join us for an update of activity at the Capitol, and new research shows where Phoenix and the state stand in terms of job growth. That's at 5:30 and 10 right here on Arizona Horizon. If you'd like to watch tonight's show again or maybe see past episodes of Arizona Horizon, see what we have in store for the future, check us out, azpbs.org/horizon. That's azpbs.org/horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.